Hi, Paul Liggins here. What we're going to show you in this tutorial is creating charts entering an anchorage. So I'm going to show you an overview. I'm going to show you how to set up the directories to store the information, how to create the HLGs, the files created by SAS Planet that describe the chart, how to create the charts using set the chart using these HLGs, and how to display the charts on OpenCPN. So this is the overview of what we're trying to do. If I go to SAS Planet here, this is a map of Borneo up here and Indonesia down here. And we want to come into this here place right in here. And we want to go up one of these rivers and anchor. So we want to create some good charts for it. So what we're going to do is create 3 charts. This is what they're going to look like. Is going to be a detailed chart around this whole area, and it will be at zoom level 17. And then around that, there's going to be a coastline chart, shoreline chart, that is going to be at zoom level 15. And there's going to be an overall chart that's going to be at zoom level 10 to 12. That's what we're trying to do. Next thing I want to show you is setting up the directories to store the information. So if I go to the place where I store all my stuff, it's a directory called Sector Charts. And in there I store all my charts for various countries and also for places that I plan to sail into. For instance, this Varadero one, it has 2 subdirectories, one for the HLG, where SAS Planet will store the information, and the place where we're going to store the dasher charts. So if I want to create another one for the anchors that we're going into, I would have to create a new folder. And the area we're sailing into is called Pulau. It's in Indonesia. So we're just going to leave it as Pulau. So I create that directory. You have to rid of that directory and create 2 subdirectories. The first one is going to be for the HLGs. And it's just going to be called HLGs. The second one is going to be where we're going to store the charts. Some of this call it charts. That's it. So that's all we have to do to set up the directives for the Pulau going into Indonesia. Now what I want to show you is how to create the HLGs for the charts that we're going to create. The first HLG is going to be a detailed one. Second one's going to be a coastline. And the third one's going to be overall. So we'll go back to SAS Planet, and as I said, we're going to come in here to one of these little rulers here anchored. So we want to create a detailed chart. Well, to do that, we go to Operations, and we're going to use the rectangle selection. We're just going to put a rectangle around here, out to about there, and that brings up the selection manager. And we want to create a polygon again so we can see it. So we create it. And we also want to store the HLG that represent that detailed HLG. So it has to be in the proper case. So we're going to go up here to our D directory, Sector Charts. We're going to go to the Pulau directory. And we're going to select the HLG directory. And then we're going to give it a name. Detail. Save. Okay, go to the first HLG. Cancel the selection manager. The next thing you want is the coastline, one that goes along here. So again, we got to go to Operations, Selection Manager, but this time they use a polygon selection. So we just come down the coast here that up for you. Down man. Down here. Put up to there. Then we're going to go out here and come back up here. And that's about it. That's going to go back to the start. And that's going to be our coastline HLG. So we finalize it. We go to this little fly button here. Things up with selection manager. You create a polygon for it. And we store the HLG. It's now in the correct directory. So we call it coastline. Coastline. And so we're rid of the selection manager. Now that's what we want to play is the overall one. So I go to operations here, selection manager. Again, I'm going to use a polygon selection. And I'm just going to draw a polygon around here. Along to about here. Over to about here. Up to about there. And I want to get rid of the flight, just took this. Okay, so I adjust it a little bit. And that's about it. That's the overall HLG. So we got to finalize it. Press the fly button. Create a polygon for it. And store the HLG. And that's going to be called overall. Save it. That's how we create the HLGs. Okay, you've created the HLGs for the charts. Now we're going to use them to create the chart itself, and we're going to use Sat2 Chart to do that. So go to Sat2 Chart here. First thing you want to make sure is the SAS Planet options are correct. Invoke SAS Planet downloads, most glitz, moving map support, bypass confirm the chart selection, and maximum of SAS Planet CD. Go back to our main menu. We'll create the charts from SAS Planet. Chart type is going to be MB tiled. The depth is going to be the same as the marine chart, which is navionic, so it's select meters. And then we have to correct this. It's going to create the charts in the wrong place. So we got to correct this. We're back up here. When we go into the correct directory, and we select the charts directory, and we save it. That's where it's going to create the charts. Then we go come up here to polygon HLG field. We have to correct that too. It's pointing to the wrong ones. Again, we'll go back up and go to the CUDA directory and the HLGs, and there they are. You select them all. You select finish. And now Sat2 Chart is going to start up, and first thing it's going to ask you is what zoom levels and maps you want. So the first is actually to each one of the HLGs. This is the first one that is asking for is coastline. So the coastline is going to be its zoom level 15th, and we're going to create 2 max. Navionic and satellite Google map. We're not going to repeat this, so we'll uncheck this repeat. Click OK. Then now ask us for the detail, and you select 17. And now the overall is going to be zoom levels again 11, 12. And now Sat2 Chart is going to take off and start creating a chart that's going to build up one SAS planet for every HLG map combination. So there's 2 maps, 3 HLGs, so there's going to be 6 SAS planets brought up to do the processing. And I'm just going to stop the chart, or stop the video until that gets going. Okay, Sat2 Chart has brought up 6 copies of SAS Planet. They're all overlaid on Cottonwood here. And also it resizes itself, and it brought up a window that shows the progress for each one of the SAS planets. And notice each one of them, RTHLG has two entries, one for the avionics and one for the satellite Google Max. I'm going to stop the video again until it finishes. Okay, it finished. Created 6 charts. Put them in here. Let's go take a look at that directory, see what we got. Here they are, right here. We've got 6 charts. 2 for each of the coastal and 1 for the Navios, 1 for satellite Google Max. Same with the rest of them. So that's all we have for creating the charts, the exact charts. Well, the final thing we want to do is display those charts we just created on OpenCPN. So go to OpenCPN here, you see around that area. I'm going to do a scan for new charts. And notice I have the directory for the FIA charts here. So with a CPN can use it to create the charts, show the charts. So we do a scan. And this is the detailed chart for Navionics right here. So let's zoom in here. We'll find they got lots of detail there. Now if you switch to the satellite chart, again you have lots of detail that's down up there. Okay, there we go. Right there. And turn those off. And we back out here. We want to take a look at the overall chart. This is the overall chart for academics. And you notice it goes way out here because with Z model 10 to 12, we're going to have charts all out here. Same with the satellite chart. Okay, that's it for viewing them on OpenCPN. Okay, I showed you how to set up the directives, how to create the HLGs for the 3 charts, how to create the charts using those HLGs using SAT2Chart, and display them on OpenCPN. Thanks for watching.